Hello and welcome back to Cinematic Venom and happy Father's Day! And we celebrated Mother's Day by looking at the miserably depressing terms of endearment with my beloved mother. She was delightful, wasn't she? So it's only right we now spend Father's Day looking at a classic father-son story, Kramer versus Kramer. And like before, I'm reviewing it with my dear old dad. Hi, Dad!
Bang bang, skeet skeet.
No, you can't say that! Kramer vs. Kramer tells the story of not John from the Saw movies, but Ted, played by Dustin Hoffman, a stereotypical workaholic father to his son Billy, played by Justin Henry, but his absentee tendencies lead to his wife Joanna, played by Meryl Streep, leaving him and literally walking out on their child in the process. I mean, I hate to say that I can relate to this story.
You say my wife is dead?
No, she's right there.
Shut your hole! Don't look at me like that, I will eat your Hey, you my mother!
The movie is based on the Avery Corman novel of the same name. French director Francois Truffaut was offered the job of directing but had to turn it down for other projects before Robert Benton got the job. Originally, Kate Jackson was offered the part of Joanna but had to turn it down due to her commitment to Charlie's Angels, and it was then offered to Faye Dunaway, Goldie Hawn, Jane Fonda and Ali MacGraw, all of which turned it down. And Susan Sarandon and Diane Keaton were also both considered. Al Pacino rejected an offer to play Ted, as did Jon Voight and James Caan, and George Hamilton and Roy Scheider were both also considered for the part. The role of Phyllis, a one-night stand that Hoffman's character has in the movie, was originally offered to news reporter Joan London, but she turned it down as it required nudity. Meryl Streep was then picked for that part despite her only being in 2 scenes. However, she was able to convince the producers to let her audition for the motherly role instead. At the time, Streep had sadly lost her fiancé, John Cazale, to cancer just a few months prior, and Hoffman believed this would help with her performance and give her an emotional edge. She was only contracted to work just 12 days. But Streep wasn't the only one, as Hoffman was going through a real-life divorce at the time, so he was literally experiencing the same thing as his character. There's a character called Margaret who's the neighbour of Hoffman's character and also good friends with Streep's counterpart. Originally, Gail Strickland was given the part, but she left after just a week of filming. It was originally believed to have been artistic differences, but later revealed that she was just so intimidated working alongside Dustin Hoffman, which damaged her performance, as she could barely even say any of her lines. Though she claims that she just wasn't able to memorize the lines that Hoffman would improvise for her, which annoyed her greatly, leading to her being fired and replaced by Jane Alexander. However, filming wasn't wine and roses for Meryl Streep either. This was her first ever film and she didn't have the greatest introduction to the world of Hollywood. Dustin Hoffman harassed her on the set, even grabbing her breast during their first encounter, though he has since apologized for this. Why would you even do it in the first place?
Very nice, how much?
Oh, Dad!
I like sex!
I don't remember the last time I ever had such a good time.
They also conflicted when it came to the movie, as Streep wanted her character to be more sympathetic and vulnerable than in the script, which Hoffman was against. Furthermore, he's known for being a method actor and would often yell insults and obscenities at her on set, even mocking her with the name of her recently deceased fiancé, John Cazale, to increase her performance. Dude, is Dustin Hoffman related to Stanley Kubrick? What an
It is not a joke.
Exactly! There's also a scene where they have an argument, and in the very first take, Hoffman really slapped her across the face without warning. Furthermore, Hoffman wanted to add more anger to the scene, so he warned the cameraman but nobody else, as he violently threw the glass into the wall without warning the actress. This is Meryl Streep's genuine reaction, and it was a real glass. Some shards even ended up in her hair. Hoffman later admitted that he was the star of the film, and despite it being Streep's first movie, a lot of publicity was being made about her, which made him grow very angry, worried that he would become upstaged by a newbie. He hated her guts, which made her never want to work with him again. Kramer vs. Kramer had a huge impact in the 1970s. Around this time, mothers were always looked at as the superior parent, and this movie came around the time things were changing. But the movie doesn't even portray the mother as a bad parent. It balances them both out, which makes it even more impressive.
I've taken $2,000 out of our savings account because that's what I had in the bank when we first got married.
Was this some kind of joke?
Here's the cleaning, here's the laundry ticket. You can pick them both up on Saturday.
Man, she seems to be taking this breakup pretty damn well, doesn't she? Joanna even threatens suicide if Ted doesn't do as she says, and the acting on both parts is amazing. She doesn't feel like she's good enough for their son Billy, so she leaves. Ted does finally vent to Margaret about it all. Hey, he does care!
Joanna and I talk a great deal, yes. And Joanna's a very, very unhappy woman. And you may not want to hear this, but it took a lot of courage for her to walk out of here.
Mm-hmm. How much courage does it take to walk out on your kid?
Oh, my man, yes! Okay, for those unaware, when my son was just shy of turning 5, his mother walked out of his life and hasn't returned since. So this movie is that more real for me. Almost everything portrayed in this film, I've lived, and it's gut-wrenching to have to relive. This movie is like one massive punch to the stomach.
Where's Mommy?
Okay. What?
Where's Mommy?
But Ted does his absolute best to distract Billy and just change the subject. He does handle it really well. But of course he's a useless father because Hollywood loves to portray dads as being awful. Apparently only mothers know how to look after their kids.
Miss, can you help me? What grade are you in?
Oh, come on. He doesn't even know what grade he is in. What's your name again, son?
Borat.
You do have a problem, Ted.
Yeah, what's that?
What are you going to do about Billy?
Raise him? Okay, so his boss actually suggests that he sends his son away to live with relatives in case Joanna doesn't come back. Because, remember, dads are useless and he's completely incapable. But isn't this illegal? A company not catering towards childcare? Not even considering it? They're just trying to force him to work instead? Now forget your kid, just come to work, mate. And also, he's clearly successful. Why doesn't he just hire a babysitter? Seriously, the next portion of the movie is Ted struggling as he tries to balance work and home. Just hire a nanny while you work. They go shopping and Billy wants to get certain things that his mum always gets, and Ted doesn't want to upset him, nor does he want to say anything bad about her in front of him. It's subtle, but he just caves and gets what Billy wants to be the bigger man. But then, my God, this scene, I can't make jokes here. Joanna writes a letter to Billy, and for some reason, Ted reads it out to him without checking it first.
Being your mommy was one thing, but there are other things, too. And this is what I have to do. I did not get a chance to tell you this, and that is why I'm writing you now. I will always be your mommy, and I will always love you.
This scene made me cry like a I don't understand why he'd read it straight to him. My ex-wife sent many letters and I'm not showing my son until he's older and can understand a bit better. But regardless, this scene is so gut-wrenchingly powerful. To the point he starts leaving work early to get Billy and he begins to change. But then he's the last one there to collect him at a party, so naturally Billy feels abandoned and convinced that his dad is going to walk out on him as well. I've been here and it's awful.
I like Boston.
Boston? Why do you like Boston?
Because Mommy's from Boston.
The feels, man. The feels! And he can't even say anything bad about her. He's such a nice guy, he just has to put up with it. It's impossible to not feel for him. He even puts his own feelings aside to leave a picture of Joanna on Billy's desk. It's a really sweet sentiment. One complaint I do have, though, is that Ted and Margaret are suddenly now best friends. Yeah, she's had a bad breakup and then they take their kids to the park and they're just really close all of a sudden, even though earlier she was clearly more Joanna's friend. They do state that 8 months have passed, but I just think it's a transition that could have been shown a lot more instead of, oh, look, now they're friends.
Look, I can't let your family problems interfere with my responsibilities. I got a shop to run.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is how companies get lawsuits. I mean, I've no idea if this really happens in the States or back in the 70s, but from my own personal experience, companies can't really say or do anything when it's childcare related. My company, for one, have always been so accommodating when things like this has happened, but even if it does, why doesn't he just quit and sue them? But I'm confused. Is he literally leaving his son alone at home all day? I mean, this sounds like a stretch, but we never see a babysitter. Obviously, he's at a party and then he goes to collect him, sure, but that's it. Every other time he just goes to work. And right here, Billy rings him up.
Oh, hi, Billy. What's up? No, 1 hour of television a day, that's the rule.
So surely if he had a babysitter, it wouldn't be Billy ringing him up, it would be the babysitter. But even then, Billy asks for more time watching television. If Billy's on his own, surely he would just watch more television and not tell his dad. So either way, this makes no sense.
Yes.
So in the scene that was completely improvised, Billy refuses to eat dinner, so Ted says he's not allowed ice cream afterwards. But his son deliberately ignores him and goes to get the dessert just to spite him. Okay, this is actually hilarious. This is 100% accurate. Hey Dad, what was I like when I was that age?
Golden hairs and the apple of a 7-year-old.
Oh, Dad!
It's nice.
No!
All right, may sound a little rough.
But it is really relatable as Ted feels like his son now hates him. I've lived this and it's heartbreaking, and then he watches him sleep and you can tell that he regrets it before they both apologise and reconcile. This is amazing, and it genuinely tears me up during the whole viewing experience.
It's where Mommy left, isn't it? Because I was bad.
The film is so well written, and this kid deserved that Oscar nomination, man. He blames himself, but Ted says, no, it was my fault. But Ted, no, that would explain why she left you, not her kid. Don't defend her. But it's sweet how Ted is literally the only dad in the audience. The bond between them does grow gradually and naturally throughout the whole film. Before he sleeps with some random woman from work. Seriously, this comes right out of nowhere. I get that you want to show he's over his ex-wife, but okay. But uh-oh, Billy falls off some monkey bars and cuts his face open. Jesus Christ, look at it. I do like how Margaret has stayed in touch this entire time though. She's basically an aunt figure to Billy, and for some reason the doctor doesn't want Ted in the room as they give him stitches, but he argues his way in anyway, which is really sweet. And he even asks Margaret to have custody of Billy if anything were to ever happen to him, like he gets arrested for sexual harassment claims or something. So Joanna randomly gets back in touch 18 months after disappearing and wants to meet for a drink. Yeah, you better tell her to right off me. So Ted gives her an earful of facts, but now they have to go to court to fight for custody, and his own lawyer admits they normally rule in favour of the mother and they have to literally prove she's an unfit parent. There is a really sweet moment that follows where he just holds Billy and it shows how much he means to him and how he doesn't want to ever lose him. I swear to God, he better end up with the kid or this movie can suck my balls. He even tells funny stories about his son to his boss. You can tell he's his entire world, but the boss clearly does not give a flying and even fires him! Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is unfair dismissal. Great, now he needs another lawyer. But the truth is, he doesn't stand a chance in the custody battle unless he has a job. Come on, this dude can't catch a break. The guy even offers him some cash, but he refuses and just leaves. But Ted promises his attorney to get a job in 24 hours because it's just that easy. I don't even get it. Surely he could just go to the court case and be like, yeah, I got fired, but here's my boss. He'll explain why. His boss will come on the stand and be like, oh yeah, I fired him because he was spending all his time with the son. This would have been resolved in like 5 minutes.
I love you, b****.
But Ted refuses to leave unless he gets an answer and puts himself in the driver's seat, making them wish they could hire him. And of course he manages to get the job. But things start to get more complicated as Joanna wants to see Billy, and naturally Ted is reluctant, fearing that she might kidnap him, but soon agrees. It's just so heartbreaking as Billy runs back into his mum's arms. He's so young he doesn't quite understand. She hasn't been there. Ted has. She's f***ed off and now wants to come back and pretend she's a good mother. Man, screw this b****.
And I really needed somebody to help me. But when I turned to Ted, he just wasn't there for me.
What does that have to do with the child? Furthermore, she admits to having numerous lovers after she left, whereas Ted hasn't. So Margaret is questioned and she defends Ted as a father, but has to reveal what Joanna said about him as a husband, which again should be irrelevant. But she tries to plead that he's a changed man, but keeps getting interrupted.
What law is it that says that a woman is a better parent simply by virtue of her sex?
Thank you! But this dialogue is beautifully written.
You know, I had a lot of time to think about what does it make somebody a good parent. You know, it has to do with constancy. It has to do with patience. It has to do with listening to him. It has to do with pretending to listen to him when you can't even listen anymore. It has to do with love, like she was saying. And I don't know where it's written that says that a woman has a corner on that market, that a man has any less of those emotions than a woman does. Billy has a home with me. I've made it the best I could. It's not perfect. I'm not a perfect parent. Sometimes I don't have enough patience, and I forget that he's a little kid. But I'm there. I get up in the morning, and then we eat breakfast, and he talks to me, and then we go to school, and at night we have dinner together, and we talk then, and I read to him, and we built a life together, and we love each other. If you destroy that, it may be irreparable.
but you can see in slight facial expressions that she can tell that he's changed since they separated.
Mr. Kramer, isn't it true that you were fired from your previous job?
I was let go.
Because of childcare.
Mr. Kramer, isn't it true that your agency lost a major advertising account due to your negligence?
Objection.
He was looking after his son. Why doesn't Ted ever point that out? Where's his boss? He was neglecting work because he was looking after his son. They do list all the work stuff he's missed since, which actually should work in his favour, but oh well. Joanna starts to notice that he's not a workaholic anymore and actually has changed. But he even points out Billy's injury and points the blame to Ted, since earlier he blamed himself. And Joanna seems guilty for having told him. Good, you you're a horrible, horrible person. Even if this was a mistake and you done f***ed up, you've come back and have now literally used your son as a pawn against your ex-husband to ruin his life and paint him as Satan. F*** you to hell, you She even tries to apologise for telling her attorney that information, but he walks away. Good. She deserves nothing. This woman is a horrible person who then tiptoes around the point, bullshit, and refused to take responsibility for her own horrific actions. But the time is now. We find out who wins the court case.
Hi. I'm lost. I can't tell you how sorry I am.
What? Nah. This movie. F you. No, f it. F you, you bitch, you little mother piece of shit. So he wants to appeal the decision, but the lawyer claims they'd have to put Billy on the stand, but Ted refuses. Even though an appeal requires no new evidence, so Billy wouldn't be on the stand at all, but... Lies! Amazingly, Ted still praises Joanna to Billy. He still doesn't say a bad word about her. But Billy doesn't like these changes, and it's just heartbreaking to see all of this happen to the poor kid. And for a nice transition from earlier, they made French toast at the start of the film and they were happy, but Ted messed it all up. But now they're quiet and serious, but Ted does it all fine. It's a nice subtle touch to show that he's finally sorted his life out. But your anxiety is so high as the film reaches the end, wanting to know what's going down. Come on, do the right thing, Joanna!
Yes?
Ted, it's Joanna. I'm downstairs in the lobby. Can you come down here and meet me alone?
She still has time! Come on, Joanna, don't let us down, please!
I came here to take my son home. And I realize he already is home.
Yes! Okay, she is redeemed. This movie is amazing. Well done, movie. Well, Kramer vs. Kramer is a masterpiece. It is a roller coaster of emotions. It raises important issues of paternal rights versus maternal rights, and it's a beautifully told story. She's a who messes up but learns, and the ending redeems it all. Ted changes from his workaholic ways, and I could relate to so much of it. It was hard to relive these events, but I'm glad I did. It's definitely a powerful and effective film. It's honestly a beautiful story of father and son, and an excellent way to celebrate Father's Day.